Welcome to the Fusion Tables workshop. My name is Mona Ilayan, and I'll be presenting this session. I like to always go through the learning objectives before we get started so that everybody has a clear understanding of how we will be looking at Fusion Tables. So initially, I would like to introduce Fusion Tables. What are they? How can you use them? The pros and cons of using Fusion Tables. Then we will go through some basic tutorials that include hands-on activities to install, import, format Fusion Tables, and create and format maps, and change table and user accessibility. The resources that are required to use Fusion Tables is an internet connection, a Google Drive account, and a spreadsheet application, just to get started. What are Fusion Tables? Fusion Tables are a free web service data management tool, or in Google terms, an experimental data visualization web application that processes imported data into visual maps, charts, and graphs to offer alternative ways of visualizing your data. The data is gathered into a spreadsheet, CSV, comma-separated values, Excel sheets, and KML files that are later used to generate suitable infographics. Google limits the upload size of one data file to 250 megabytes of data per user and allows a total quota of 1 gigabyte of user storage. It's recommended that the data has less than 100 columns because an increase in the number of columns degrades the performance if you choose to import and insert the data with the Fusion Tables API. Each row in the table is considered a unit, and the import or insert will fail if the data in one row is greater than 1 megabyte. So why use Fusion Tables? Well, Fusion Tables can be used to generate dynamic infographics that updates automatically as you update the information in your data file. By being able to create such visual representations, you will have the advantage of studying the data changes over time to analyze your findings and modify your approach to the study of this data. What are the advantages and disadvantages of using Fusion Tables? Well, for one, the advantage is that it's free, simplified, and easy to use. Like I said earlier, all you need is an internet connection, a web browser. And a web browser. Other visualization apps require some coding, but this one does not. The interface is familiar and intuitive. You will see what I mean very soon. What are the disadvantages of using Fusion Tables? Well, the operative word is that it's an experimental project that Google conducted, which may or may not have continued feature support. But this is usually the case. There's no real guarantee of continual support. So let's get started. Let's install Fusion Tables. To install Fusion Tables, you have to have a Google Drive account. If you have a Gmail account, you can access the Google Drive. If you don't have an account, you can easily create one now. If you have an account, let's go ahead and log in. You can access Google Drive either by going to drive.google.com, then log in with your email address and password. Or you can log into your Gmail account just as you would when accessing your email. Click the Google Apps button in the top right and then select Drive. In the Google Drive window, you would click New, select More, and then choose Select More Apps. There's a plus sign beside it. You can run a quick search for Fusion Tables in this window. Just use the search bar at the top. Or you can scroll down until you find the application. Then click the Plus Connect button. Once it's connected, a message window will appear indicating that. Perfect. We are now ready to use Fusion Tables. Let's import a dataset into our Fusion Tables. To import a dataset into Fusion Tables, we need to click the New button in the Google Drive, and then select More. Select the Google Fusion Tables. In the Import New Table prompt window, you have the option to import from. You will be prompted to import a new table from your computer, from your Google Drive, or create one using the Fusion Tables interface. So let's go ahead and select a file from our computer. Let's click on the Choose File button. Navigate to our file, and then hit Next. In the next window, you'll see a preview of your dataset file. Just click Next. Give your table a name, then click Finish. Your dataset now appears in a spreadsheet using Fusion Tables. Fusion Tables has two different looks. The new look, developed more recently to provide a new approach to exploring data with powerful options and user flexibility. For example, it's easy to save and share your work, to merge files, and to customize card layouts and configure charts. The classic look provides options that are still unavailable in the new look. For example, the option to edit data, such as adding columns, making comments on cells, rows, or columns, and has a powerful visualization menu that offers more flexibility in creating maps, charts, and other visual layouts. Now that we've imported our dataset, let's try to map the information. Fusion Tables can detect locations automatically, especially if these locations are specified in longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates. You can see the Map tab appear instantly with this dataset. In some cases, Fusion Tables may run into some problems recognizing location columns. With geographic data, every location is identified by a geocode in order to place it on a map. The address of a place with its city, state, country, postal code, or zip code should be all in one cell. Since we're using Google Fusion Tables, locating a place is similar to typing the address of that place into Google Maps. So the first thing to look out for is the address placed in one cell under one column heading. So once that's done, the second thing to look out for is whether this column is actually identified by Fusion Table as having a location type. If it is not, then you need to go to the Edit menu, select Change Columns. Here you will select the full address column and check that its type has been identified as location. If it hasn't, go ahead and change it to location. If you're working with longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates, check the box next to To Column Location. Then specify the longitudinal and latitudinal columns below. Sometimes you will need to add additional information to help Fusion Tables identify ambiguous places. You will notice yellow highlights in the cell where the place could not be identified. This can be corrected by entering a more precise address, then run geocode to locate this address. Let's briefly look at what geocoding is. Geocoding is the process of converting an address to geographic coordinates, longitude and latitude, so you can view places using markers on a map. Reverse geocoding is the process of converting these coordinates back to addresses that we can understand. Fusion Tables can automatically geocode places, but only up to a certain limit. It allows users with free access to request 2,400 per 24-hour period and 5 requests per second. To run geocoding, use the File menu, then select Geocode. Once an address has been identified with geographic coordinates, the yellow highlights go away. Sometimes you may have to go to the Map tab first and click on some of the markers, then return to your table before the yellow highlights go away. Let's create a view. If you're looking to highlight specific aspects of your table that you would like to share later, you can create a view. The best place to create a view is in Classic View, because it allows you to save your new view so you can review it at a later date. And you can also add comments, share it, and collaborate with others. So let's go ahead and do that. First, go to the File menu, select Create View, and uncheck the columns you don't want to appear. Give this view a name, then click Save View. By default, new views are private, but they can also be shared. What about filtered views? We can create a filtered view. Let's go to the File menu, Create View again, hit the Filter tab. A drop-down menu will appear to help you apply your filters. You will first select the column name, the condition the filter will apply, then you can select the operator or Boolean expression for the condition, then set the criteria that fits your research requirements. You can apply a number of conditions at once by clicking the Add Condition link, then click Apply if you're ready to run the conditions, or Clear to start over. How do we edit Fusion Tables once we've actually uploaded them? Let's assume that after you imported the data into Fusion Tables, you realize that you would like to add a new row or a new column. In the new look, you can only easily add rows, and there are two ways of adding rows. You can go to the Edit menu and select Add Row, or use File menu, Import More Rows to bring in rows from a file. Here, you'll have the option of selecting the columns you would like to import by checking the boxes next to the column headings. But this option is not recommended because it will result in a shift to the left of all cell content. Note, when importing rows, ensure the file contains the same number of columns and in the same order as the file in Fusion Tables. So what about editing columns? To add a column, you have to switch to the Classic look. In Classic look, you can add and edit both rows and columns. So to switch to Classic look, go to the Help menu, select Back to Classic look. In this look, you can modify your table more easily. Now let's add a column. Click the Edit menu, then select Add Column. Provide the column name and type, text, number, location, so that Fusion Table can read this column. Then click Save. Once the column is created, you can populate the table row by row or use a bulk replace to populate the whole column. Each column has a type that describes the values contained within it. These types can be text, number, date or time, or location. The column type text is a default type. If a URL is entered, Fusion Tables formats it as a hyperlink or displays it as an image. The number column type, this type is for integers and decimals. You can also format numbers to display as percentages or currencies. The date and time type is dedicated for dates and times and can be formatted accordingly. And finally, the location type. This type describes a location. It can be a name of a place, the full address, or the geographic coordinates, latitude and longitude. Fusion Tables can automatically detect column types when a file is imported. However, if it does not, you can always change the column type. To change the column type. If you are in the new look, the default look, click the drop-down menu triangle next to the column heading, select Change. Then choose the new type from the Type drop-down menu. If you are in the classic look, use the Edit menu, select Modify Columns. In the new window, make sure you select the column name you would like to change and choose the new type from the Type drop-down menu. Now, to change the Placemark Icons. Normally, Fusion Tables displays location points using a red dot, but we can change those icons using the Configure Styles option that has a fixed marker, column, and buckets tab. The fixed marker applies the same marker to every location. The columns marker allows you to customize a marker by adding an extra column that provides information regarding the type of marker to apply. And the buckets marker allows you to apply a marker depending on a numerical value that the item falls within. I'll show you how to use these three different styles. It's fun. To use the fixed marker, in the new look, you can click on the Map tab. You should see a Configure Map label in a gray bar above the map. There should be a feature map. Click it so it will display the Change Feature Style button. Then select Points. From the Fixed tab, select the place marker icon you like. In the classic look, use the Visualization menu, then select Map, click the Configure Styles, then select Points, and then select Marker Icons. From the Fixed tab, select the place marker icon that you like. To use the column style, you can specify icons to be displayed for specific locations using the icon names. You have to create a separate column in your table that contains the names of the icons you wish to use. Fusion Tables recognizes 200 icon names, and they are shown below. And I've also added a link as well. The icon names are found in the link below. So you can copy and paste these names into your table. Go to the Column tab, select the column from the drop-down menu, and then click Save. To use the bucket style, just click the Buckets tab, Select the Divide Into. Choose the column that contains the data on which it will run the comparison. Then change the number of buckets using the plus or minus buttons. Fusion Tables automatically detects the lowest and highest range in that column, but you can always adjust the ranges according to your study. To delete rows and tables. Let's say you need to delete a row in your Fusion table. If you are in the New Look, to delete a row, you will need to first select that row, then click Delete. In Classic Look, you can just click the trash icon that appears to the right of the row. To delete a whole table, right-click on the Fusion table you wish to delete and select Remove. Any tables sitting in your trash do not count as part of your quota. How to merge tables. You can combine data from multiple sources by merging tables. You can do that in the New Look and the Classic Look. In the New Look, you just go to the File menu, select Merge. From the window that appears, select the table you would like to merge, then click Next. You don't have the option to locate files from your local computer. The file needs to be loaded onto your Google Drive. In the next window, you will need to select the files that have columns with matching values, so as to merge the table successfully. Fusion tables are not case sensitive. As long as the text matches, it will identify the column names. For the most part, it automatically detects the matching column. However, you still have the option to manually change them. Once this step is complete, just click Merge. In the next window, click View Table. Now, in the Classic Look, you follow similar steps. The difference is that there is a designated Merge menu to activate the merge. Then select the table from the drop-down menu. You might need to hit the Get button first to generate the file drop-down menu. If you recall the name of the file, you can also input it manually, then click Get. Automatically, the column headings will display, and you are asked to identify the columns with matching values. Classic View forces you to save the merged file, so you will need to give this table a new name. Then click Merge Tables. Merge tables are indicated by the different background colors for each column name. Each color indicates a different merged file. If you need to review which tables have been merged together, just go to the File menu, then click About or About this table. This window will list the files for all the tables merged together. In the New Look, the table is saved automatically, and you'll find it in your Google Drive. A file name for the new table is generated based on the file names of the original tables. Merging has limitations. Merging tables may result in some limitation in how much you can modify these tables. With merged tables, you cannot add or import rows, add columns, delete rows and columns, and make a copy of the table. The alternative is to download the table, then upload it back again. How can you make your table accessible? There are three types of access. There's private, public, and anyone with a link. Private access only allows people you assign permission to view the table after signing in, and they can only view the table. Public access means that anybody can access your table and data and generate visualizations. It would also be indexed for search engines to find. No signing in is required. The anyone with the link access will allow anyone with a link to access your table without signing in. But in this instance, the table is not indexed and cannot be found by search engines. When creating a new table, it will be set up as private, which requires you to invite people and assign them permissions. They will need to sign into their accounts unless you remove the sign-in requirement. In your Google Drive, you can do that by right-clicking on the table, select Share. In the window that appears, find the Private button and click the Change link that appears to its right. Select Public or anyone with a link under Visibility Options. Then click Save. Then click Done. How to assign roles and permissions to tables. You have the option of sharing your tables with others. There are two ways to share your table. You can share it as a viewer, as an editor. The role of a viewer allows the user to sort, query, and visualize the data. They can also leave comments, in classic look of course, and if they're signed into their Google accounts. They can also merge and compare data and turn this table into their own. In the role of an editor, the user is allowed to create, edit, and delete rows. They're allowed to create, change, and delete tabs. They're allowed to geocode the data, add, change, and delete columns, change table metadata, and delete the comments. Editors on view or merge tables cannot edit data, geocode data, or modify columns unless they are given permission to do so. You can set these roles from within the Google Drive. Right-click on the file and select Share. In the Share settings, you can select the Add user's level of accessibility, can edit, or can view. You can also share a table in New Look by clicking the Share button that appears in the top right corner. As the owner, you have control of the table. Additional features of Fusion Tables. Like any other document in Google Drive, Fusion Tables features are similar. One interesting feature is the ability to publish a chart, map, or visualizations to a website. To publish Fusion Tables, there are a number of ways you can publish specific parts of your Fusion table. As a link or embedded chart or table, as a map, as a browser URL, as an embeddable link for inclusion in a web page, etc. So to publish, you only have to click the Tool menu, then select Publish. A link to the map, chart, or table, etc. will be provided and can be embedded and used. To learn more about Fusion Tables, visit the Fusion Tables help site with a number of tutorials. You can also check out a number of visualization examples at this site below. This was sponsored by the University of Toronto Scarborough and its library, Ryerson University, Brock University, and this research was supported by the Social Science and Humanities Research Council of Canada. A special thanks goes to Ryerson for hosting Day 3 of the conference, Center for Digital Humanities, Ryerson University Library and Archives, the Director of E-Learning, the Learning and Teaching Office, the Office of the Dean, Faculty of Arts, the Department of English and its MA Literatures of Modernity program, and the Master of Digital Media program for donations of financial support. The Dean of Faculty of Humanities, Brock University, for a contribution of financial support towards the conference, as well as contributing to planning. Victoria Owen, Chief Librarian at the University of Toronto Scarborough, for her generous financial support and staff resources. Shirk Connections grant, without which none of the wonderful research and discussions generated here would be possible.